Congratulations on your new website. In this video, we're going to go over some of the custom changes that were done to your website and essentially teach you how to maintain this website moving forward so that you're able to add the customizations and the updates that you need in order to keep your site fresh and up to date. So the first thing I like to do is I like to actually have two tabs open. One tab to show the website and another tab to essentially go into the back end of WordPress in order to make my changes, and that way I can toggle back and forth between the two tabs to see what I change and how my changes are reflected on the website. So in my second tab, what you need to do is grab the URL and append /wp-admin. So that's /wp-admin. And once you put that URL into the browser, you should see a login page similar to this. I'm going to go ahead and pause the video so that I can log in. Now, once you're logged in with the correct credentials, you should see a dashboard or a web page that looks just like this or similar to this. This is basically called the dashboard of WordPress, and essentially your main control hub of all the different changes, different change options that you have in order to change your website. In addition, I just wanted to rewind a little bit back. If you don't have your credentials, there is a forget your password feature on that login page. It's right underneath the submit button, so you just click on that and enter your email address. If your email address is on file, it will send you an email to reset your password and instructions on how to reset your password. So now we're on the dashboard. So the first thing I want to go over is pages. Pages are essentially the area in WordPress where that you can't update all the different pages on your site. So when I click on pages on the left hand side menu, you'll see a screen that looks like this, and this gives me all the pages that this particular website has. A couple of things I want to note out is the page that is basically suffixed with front page, that's your home page, and there are some minor HTML tags in your title. These are the titles of the page. The HTML, the span, this open bracket span, close bracket, and then a word in between, and then open bracket /span, closing bracket. You'll see that on obstetrics and gynecology, as well as the welcome to Parkside pages, and that basically indicates to the website to make those letterings a little bit different. So if you wanted to have those colors, I think it's the light green, to show up in the titles, you'll just put it in between these two, like the two span tags. You can look at these examples to kind of mimic those effects. So let's go over homepage. So for example, if I wanted to edit this content in the website, for the most part on the left hand side where it has the most content, all this text, that's going to be edited under pages, and we'll also go over on how to edit other components that's not this particular section. So let's go back to the home page, and let's say I wanted to edit this content here. Well, we'll go to pages and essentially look for the title. The text that's above the context is typically your title, so this would be the title of the page. On the about page, this is the title, and so forth. The titles are basically demonstrated here, and this one is the home page. Not only does it have the title of the home page, but it also is signified as front page. So I'm going to hover over the title and then edit. Well, the edit link will appear, and I'll click on edit. Now I'll be able to edit the home page, and it's just like Microsoft Word or any other text editor. It's just what you see is what you get. This is some text. I can highlight it, and I could make it bold. I can left align it or right align it, even center it. I can also make it a hyperlink by clicking on the link. There's, if you just click and hover over each of these icons, it'll have an explanation of what it does. This toolbar toggle, if you click on that, will expand. If you didn't see the second tier menu, expand or collapse them. And yeah, it gives you a whole bunch of options that you'll typically will use on your site. And then there's text colors and so forth. So contents is really pretty easy. It's self-explanatory in terms of editing content. A couple of things I want to point out is as you're typing text, there is a difference between a paragraph break and a line break. A paragraph break is essentially pressing the enter key, and it will basically create a paragraph break, which is a line break with a spacing between the two lines. So here this is a paragraph break. This is the enter key doing its work. Now if I wanted just to do a regular line break where it just brings the cursor to the next line, you would hold down shift and press enter, and that one would just bring the cursor to the next line you type in. So that's a line break. So I just wanted to point that out. There are a couple created text sizes. So I'm going to put in some dummy text so that we can see the difference between each of them. So it's headline 1. So under here we can choose heading. This one I'm going to choose heading 2, and this one I'll choose heading 3. I just chose the same words, but you don't have to. These could be different words as well. And if I save those, and let's go to the home page, you'll see that these already have predefined text. So the headline 1 will be of this size, headline 2 will be of this one, and headline 3 will be of this size. If you wanted to preset the size. So let's go ahead and close that. Typically you won't need to do that just because this area here is really just to edit the content here, and most likely it's just going to be the normal font sizes, the normal font size, which is this font. But the option's there if you need it. So I'm going to go ahead and click on update here so that the changes I did put in. Let me just close up some of these line breaks, update, and just make sure that the changes I put in, the dummy changes I put in, are no longer there. Perfect. So that's essentially how you update pages. Let's take a look at another page to see if we have any other options. Alright, so let's go over the About page, because the home page is special, and we'll go over how to change this. The home page actually has a rotating slider where it rotates different images, but on every other page of the site, like About Us, and if I go under Obstetrics and Patient and Topics, each of these have their own image, banner image. So if I go over to all pages, and let's say I wanted to edit our patient, so this one's going to be patient information. That's the title of the page. So within pages, I'm going to look for patient information, which is right here. Click on edit. If I wanted to change the image, it's done on the right hand side under featured image. You can click on that, and I would just upload a brand new image. So let's say I had an image on my desktop. All I have to do is grab an image from my desktop and just drag it into this file upload. So it's as simple as that. Now, in order to correctly change the image, it's important that you use an image of the same file, the same image dimensions, as well as the same file type. So I see that for a patient, or patient information, the dimensions for this image is 1270 by 440. It's important that any new image that I would want to replace this image with is the correct size. I see that the image type is JPEG, and typically you'll deal with JPEG, PNG, and GIF. You'll want to make sure the image is JPEG. Not that it can't accept the other image size or image type. Is that JPEG will typically be a file type that doesn't take up a lot of space. So you want to make sure your images load quickly. So two important key things: whatever image you're going to replace the existing image with, make sure it's the same dimension, as well as the same file type. And you can tell by clicking on featured image and seeing what the existing image types and dimensions are. So that's basically it with pages. Let's take a look if there's another type of pages that are a little bit different. Alright, so let's take a look at contact, just because there's a lot of things going on. I just wanted to kind of see what's going on with that page. So I'm going to go to contact. And I think everything is basically straightforward, except, the areas of this table here, it's within the grid here, so that's fine. The driving from, I wouldn't touch that, but I might change the text around it, or maybe put some text afterwards, but I definitely wouldn't want to mess with this part right here, just because there's some special programming to make this feature work. So just modify things around there. Make sure you don't delete this by accident. Everything else should be self-explanatory. We'll go over the find us and testimonials in the future, shortly after this. Let me just take another look at. I think these pages are special. Okay, so those pages are special. Let's just take a look at what it says when we visit that within the back end. So obstetrics, let's see, leave this page because we don't want to make any changes. Let's click on this. Alright, so in here, it's saying programmers note this section is ignored. Please use the obstetrics compilation location located on the left-hand menu. So it's basically talking about these two. And the reason why it's saying that is because whatever you put in here, it is being ignored, because obviously this note is put here, but we don't see it on the page. And the reason why that's there is because there's some customization to make this whole ability work in terms of the expanding and collapsing, as well as the being able to order the topics and assign the topics to either this part here or this part down here. So it's telling you this part's ignored, and just go ahead and make your modification to the left-hand menu. We'll go over that. I think we'll probably go over that next. I think this particular functionality is only in two places. I think it's in that page as well as gynecology. Yeah, so if I go to pages and I go to gynecology, I think it's going to say the same thing. Programmer's note, the section is ignored. So perfect. So let's go ahead and actually make some changes to these special pages. So for gynecology, it's telling me, okay, use the gynecology in the left-hand menu. So let's go ahead and click on that. And if I'm looking at all the gynecology topics, they should match up with all the topics here. The orders might not always line up, but all the topics should show up. So let's say I add a new topic. So I'm going to do test title and test description. And again, just like pages, you could bold and make things a hyperlink. So unbold this and let's put this with hyperlink. So let's say I want this to go to google.com. Have it even open up a new tab when somebody clicks on it. I'll click on publish. And I think by default, it's first in, first out. So the last one you put in, so this one I'm putting in, it should show up at the top. It should be the first one. So if that's working the way you want it to, great. If not, let's say you want to reorder this and maybe have it the fourth or fifth one down. What you want to do is you want to go under gynecologies and click on reorder. And essentially I can click and drag it to be wherever I want. So let's say I want test title to show after pap smear. So I'll drag it and drag it under pap smear. Press update. And if I refresh the page, it should be right after the pap smear. And it is. Perfect. And let me go back to all items, because I think the test title, maybe it does show in alphabetical order. So that's in the order that you order it. That's great, but don't be mistaken. You don't order things here. You order things by clicking on the reorder menu and then dragging and pulling it down or up to where you want it to show up in the page. So I'm going to go ahead and click on trash. And that's how I delete one of these topics. So now that I refresh the page, it's gone. So let's go over obstetrics. All right, so this one actually has two types. So we have the regular one, and then we have complication of pregnancy. I named it so that the default is, probably saying this wrong anyways, obstetrics. If I wanted to show up here, I'll modify it by going to this section here and adding the appropriate topic into this section. And of course I can reorder it so that I can reorder this part up here. Or if it's part of the complications of pregnancy, you'll do it under obstetrics complications. You won't be able to change this text here. This is actually built into this customization is actually built into the page that you just don't have the ability to change. But if you want this changed, then you can always contact me and I'll be more than happy to change that for you. But yeah, essentially this works similar to gynecology. Before we work on these side boxes here, let's go back to the home page and I'll show you how to update the rotating slider. So the home page, which is the only place that has the rotating slider, if I wanted to change this, let's say I wanted to add new image or even change the order of the slides, I would go under Siliquai. And here I see the option, home page slider. So I'm going to go ahead and click on edit. Always edit this, never put that in the trash. And essentially, if I had a new slide, I could just drag the slide into this box and then it'll upload. Drop the image here, let go, and then it would essentially upload for you. And afterwards, then you have the option of clicking and dragging each slide to change the order. And then if you if you click on this eye under each of these slides, the eye will allow you to change the hyperlink of the slide so that you can control if somebody clicks on this, it goes to the correct page that you want it to go to. So obstetrics, if I click on that, should go to the appropriate page, and it does. And then if I go to gynecology, if I click on it, it should go to the appropriate page as well. Or hold on, did that work well? Maybe that did not work. Let's see, gynecology goes to midwife. That's not correct. Maybe I should change it. So I'm going to go ahead and change that right now. And that's the second slide. Oh, that's odd. Hold on. Maybe there's something weird going on. Maybe the image is called midwife when it's... Alright, so I had it backwards. So, number 2 is gynecology. So I am going to change this to gynecology. And I didn't use the whole URL just because I think, I know how websites work and it's shorter for me. And then midwife is the third slide. So let me just grab that. I'll copy. And I'll make this the third one. That one is midwife. I'm going to go ahead and update, and let's just test it out and make sure it works. So I'll go back to the home page. We know the first one works, right? Click on that, it goes correct. And if I click on the second one, this one should go to gynecology now. Good. Let's go back to the home page, and let's go to the third one, midwife. Should go to the correct page. Okay, there you go. So there you go. That we got a real demo going. So that's how you edit the home page slides. So now I am going to go back to the home page, and I'm going to talk about content blocks. And content blocks are essentially the different widgets that you have on the site. Anything that's on the right hand side of your content. So it's perpendicular to your page content. So news and events, testimonials, location and hours. If I go to another page, testimonials here, contact page has a special one where it has define us. These are content blocks. This here is not a content block. This is a specialized custom menu. You won't be able to update this. You won't be able to change it or change the linking. If you do want those to be changed, you'll have to contact me. But I doubt these will ever change. These are kind of set in stone. As well as I know the copyright is going to be set. The year will automatically change to reflect the current year. This part right here is in a different section. We'll go over that. And then the address down here is in a different section. And then the phone number and the Facebook icons here, those are part of the custom template, so you won't be able to change that. But I doubt those ever change. A lot of the things that you're not allowed to change rarely ever change anyways. But like testimonials, that'll change pretty often. You might want to rotate a couple at a time. News and events will always update with the latest stuff. Location, hours, well, looks like it's already changed because I didn't put that in. So luckily that's not built in stone. So yeah, so the stuff that can change are in content blocks. So that's going to be under content blocks with the according titles to them. So office hours would be this part here. Location block, it's probably this part here. That's the location. The news and events is this here, and the testimonials, which is the last block, is this part right here. And they work just like pages, as well as these special custom, they call them custom post types, but these custom topics, you can probably think of them as. So if I click on, let's say, office hours, and I wanted to change the office hours, let's say the office hours, let's say all of a sudden you guys do work on Sundays. You know, just go ahead and easily just put it in the hours. It's just as easy as that. So of course update, and that's basically it. Probably the only gotcha is whatever you put in news and events, just make sure the testimonials are as long, just to make things look correct. So that's probably something I would just advise. Now right now it's not, because there are no testimonials, it doesn't even up. But sometimes you can't make it even up just because one block will have less content than the other. But I mean, you can always add like spacing to the bottom to make sure that it evens up a little bit better. And remember, there's that whole shift enter for line breaks and paragraph, and then there's enter for paragraph breaks. So if we play around with those two, it might be a combination of line breaks and paragraph breaks that will make your right hand side block line up better with the left hand side. So as you can see, it's a little bit longer now. If I added a couple more maybe paragraph breaks, it might even up a little bit. Let's see. Yeah, so I keep doing it a little bit more. It will look a little bit better. I think this will look better with it being centered, so I'll do that. Let's see. Yeah, it looks a little bit better. So I'm going to keep this as is because I know the testimonials will be coming soon. So that's essentially content blocks. There's really not much to say. Everything works similarly. Like all the pages in these topics as well as the content blocks, they pretty much work the same. It's a matter of knowing what areas in here reflects where on the website and which ones you can't edit. So again, can't really edit the phone numbers here or this Facebook icon or links. And let's say you had more social media. Let's say later on you had the Twitter account. You'll have to contact me. You can't edit this secondary menu. You'll have to contact me as well. Down here, the website title as well as the address, and the website title here and the address, that you have to unlock it, which I don't know if I should show it to you guys, but since I already mentioned it, I guess I'll have to show it to you guys. I typically don't recommend unlocking features just because, one, I think it'll cause confusion, but two, by unlocking some of these features and not knowing exactly what they do, you could potentially damage your site big time. So, but because I did mention it, this one should be pretty small. So I'm going to unlock it. So basically, go to Tools, AG Custom Admin, and I'm gonna click on No for admin. Apply admin menu customization. If I go to Save Changes, now you see like a whole bunch of other stuff. I told you it's gonna get confusing. And then if you go to Settings and you go to General, here you can see what the site title is, and here's where you can see where the address is. The site title would change this, as well as changing this here. Or maybe it's just the bottom. Let me double check. Oh, it's just the title. Let's see. I'm seeing which one has an ampersand. It might be both. It's probably both. So yeah, I'd be able to change the title here as was down here, and the address is tagline here. But because it rarely ever gets changed, I doubt the name's going to change, and I doubt the address is going to change. If the address changes, then there's going to be a whole bunch of other changes. That's why it's hidden. So I'm going to go back and hide that again, just because it's nice to know, but I don't think it's necessary. I think you'll have enough to do with what you can already do. So let's go ahead and save changes. Alright, so now it's back to the nice collapsed view. So last thing I want to go over is backups and updates. It's very, very important to keep your site up to date. WordPress is a very, very nice software. Allows you to do all this great stuff. Allows you as a client be able to update websites without any programming. Basically, just clicking and dragging and typing stuff in, you're able to maintain your website versus having all your changes be done by a programmer. So that's really nice. But with a system like WordPress, it is constantly evolving. New features are added, new functionalities added. It keeps up with the time. Now, because it's continuing evolving, there's also going to always be bug fixes, security patches, new features and so forth that sometimes aren't backwards compatible. But that shouldn't stop you from not upgrading. You should always upgrade, just because, just like your regular computer, you're getting updates in the background, and you should always keep your site up to date, because there's going to be new security holes that are being plugged and getting patched and things like that. And if you don't keep your website up to date and it doesn't have the latest security patches, there is a chance, I think it's a matter of time than rather if you're going to get this hacked, because a lot of my clients or new clients, as well as existing clients who don't upgrade, typically come to me saying, hey, why is my website showing pharmaceutical ads? It's because they didn't keep their website up to date. So you always want to keep your website up to date, and when the time comes, you will see a little indicator next to dashboard that says, hey, please update my website. I will warn you that not all updates are compatible. Sometimes the updates do break your site, makes your site look kind of weird when it does. In those events, I always recommend, before updating a site, as well as after any large changes, to always create a backup. By doing this, it allows you to, if an upgrade breaks a site, you always have a previous copy to revert to. In addition, if you always upgrade after every big changes that you've done, if you've accidentally damaged your site for some reason, you can at least revert back to the latest huge change that you've done to the website, so you don't have to start from scratch again. Now, you might not be able to know how to revert a backup, but at least you have a backup so that you can provide myself or an administrator backup so that they can revert to that backup. And backups are really, really easy. So you would go to Backup Buddy, you click on Backup, and then you'll want to do a complete backup, which will back up both the data as well as your website. So everything that you've done on the website, everything that you uploaded to the website will be saved. Oh, and speaking of upload, I think we did miss one thing. So once this finished backing up the site, we'll go back, and I forgot to mention one thing. So once the backup is done, you'll get this blue button that says, "Oh, download backup file." I recommend that not only do you backup often, but once the backup is done, to download a backup of the download a copy of the backup file and store it on your computer. That allows the security, or having the security, that if something ever happens to your hosting, you at the very least have a local copy on your machine. So it takes both the hosting as well as your computer to basically go bye-bye in order to lose everything on your website, or to lose your website, period. So by having the backups both stored on the web server as well as your local machine, it kind of gives you leeway in terms of security. So that's it for backup. So the one thing I didn't mention, or that I did forget, is I think under information sheets, these links link to a particular file that you would upload to the site. So like PDF docs, Word docs. Let me kind of go over that so that we cover everything. It's nothing different than we haven't gone over already, but maybe it's small enough that it could be tricky. So I'm going to go to Pages. It's under Instruction Sheet because I know that's a title. And if you ever want to change the title, you just change it. You change the title by clicking on Edit, and you change the title up here. Let's say Information Sheet, for example. But Sheets is good. The trick here is, let's see, how should I go over this? There's a couple ways doing it. I'm trying to think of the easiest way to do it. I think the easiest way to do it is, okay, so let's say I had another file that I wanted to link to. So I press enter, creates another bullet point. So it would be after this one right here. And you want to go to click Add Media. After that, I'm going to drag and drop a Word doc in here. So let's say I wanted it to open up this particular doc. So I'm going to drag it and drop it. I uploaded it. I want it to link to a media file. That's just good. Just make sure there's this link to a file. And it's going to basically, the hyperlink is going to link to this particular file. Click on Insert into Page. It will automatically take the file name to be the title of the link. If I wanted to change that, what I want to do is, see, the trick is that if you delete and you type, it doesn't make the new characters hyperlink. I don't know why. It's kind of glitchy like that. So what you want to do is you want to be inside the text and then delete. But I would leave the first character, because I think if you delete the first character, it's going to be the same thing too. Let's try that. Yeah, so it's not, so it doesn't work. So what you want to do is make sure you're in the middle, leave the first letter and leave the last letter, and type what you want the link to be. So let's say this is some sort of account information form, let's just say. Once I'm good with that, I would then delete the last letter and delete the first letter. I don't know why it's not by default, but I think what happens is if you don't specifically say to open up a new tab, it won't open up a new tab. I like these assets to basically open up a new tab in order to download or open up a file, instead of actually being open up in the same tab as what you're currently looking at. So what you need to do is highlight the phrase, the link, click on Edit Link, and then click on Open Link in a new tab. I'm going to click on Update. I'm going to click on Update there on the right hand side. And now if I refresh, I have account information form. I click on it, it opens up a new tab, and because it's a Word doc, it'll automatically download to my computer. So if I keep clicking on it, I'll keep downloading more copies. I have PDF installed, so that's why it opens up a new tab. But people who don't have Adobe PDF or Adobe Acrobat installed, it'll do the same thing as Word. It'll just download it for them. So I just wanted to go over that. That could be a little bit tricky. Actually, it is actually more trickier than I thought. Just make sure that once you upload, if you don't want to mess with the whole, keeping the first letter and last letter and changing the word in the middle, make sure whatever you upload the file name is exactly the name that you want it to be, then it would just work. Then it would just like, say exactly what you wanted to say. So that's essentially that. And of course, if I need to delete that now just because there's like an example. So not only do you want to keep things clean, you delete it off the page. Click on update. I would also go to media. The deleting off the page deletes the hyperlink. You also want to delete the file off the web server as well, just so that there's no residue of the actual file you uploaded. Keep things clean, makes things easier to look at and sort through or find when you're trying to administrate the website. So delete the link, and then go to media, and then find a file and delete the file. Again, it's on the right hand. You click on the file on the right hand side. There's delete permanently. You want to click on that. So that's it. So congratulations on your new site, and you can always contact me if you have any questions and so forth. But this video, along with the manual that you receive, should cover everything that you need to know about WordPress, as well as the customization that I've done on top of WordPress. Thanks.